everyone. Thank you for joining today's media availability. If possible, please turn your cameras on and use the hand raise function to ask questions. We're joined by Colorado Rapids head coach Matt Wells. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. We'll go with Matt Wickham.
Matt, first question, how are you doing today? And then what's your last week in Florida look like?
Hey Matt, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Yeah, no, we're very good. It's been a good week. It's gone quickly, this second phase, but we've had a really good week. Obviously, it started with the sort of debrief and analysis from the game at the weekend, and that sort of teed us up for the work that we were doing this week. And really tough day on Tuesday, but in tight areas. Really tough day yesterday in bigger areas, and then we came right off the guys today, which has been their first breather of pre-season. So. I think they were grateful for that, and now we're in a good spot for the weekend's game. So it's been a really good week, and excited for what's to come.
We'll go to Keith Richards.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Keith.
Sorry, I'm at the computer today.
No problem.
Was just curious. I know you're probably not happy with the results of the last preseason games of 4-1, but was just curious if there was anything you saw that fits into the model of having the players play with tighter legs and progressing that you're happy with.
Yeah, I mean, not fussed about the result. Obviously, I think I was pretty transparent throughout that the guys in every game until this weekend's game were going to be playing under severe fatigue, and it was no different for that game. So it was a great exercise for me. Obviously, we played 45 minutes, and a 40-minute game, so everyone got some good minutes under their legs, and there was elements of both teams where they did some stuff really well that we want to see in our game model, and both groups also had a lot of stuff that we want to eradicate from the way that we play. So that's been a big feature of the work this week. But again, for me, it's just all good information. Learned loads about the individuals, learned loads about the units, learned loads about the team as a whole. So we've used that this week to shape training.
We'll go to Patrick Radigan.
Hi, Coach. I'm happy you mentioned your mindset for those last two games, because, like you said, you're putting them under pressure. They're going to have heavy legs, and now you mentioned until this weekend. So now, as game week approaches with one left, I mean, what are you guys looking to change up in terms of what you're looking for this weekend, and what are kind of the big areas that you're hoping to see the squad adapt to a different level of scrimmage this weekend?
Yeah, not so much changing. I think it's just been a little bit more of a dress rehearsal for how we would prepare for a game in terms of many aspects. Certainly the physical load. Like I said, we came off the guys a bit today. We'll sharpen up training tomorrow, but keep it a lot shorter than what we've done on previous Fridays. So I think that'll be well received, and there'll be a lot fresher plays going into the game on Saturday. So I think that then allows us to analyse with a little bit more clarity as to exactly where we are as a group. So I'm interested to see that and excited for the game.
We'll go to Juan Fernandez.
Am I coming through all right? How's it going, Coach?
How's it going, Juan? Did I pronounce that right? Juan?
Yes,
yeah.
Juan. Nice to meet you.
You too.
We saw your assistant coaches, Alistair Harris and Rob Birch, joining you. How has their contributions kind of helped you? Do you feel as though the staff is rounding out? Tell me about the group that you got. Do you feel as though this is as complete as the group that you've got there in preseason?
Yeah, I think it feels, for your word, a lot more complete. It was excellent before. I was really grateful to the staff that were here, and how everyone covered their roles was fantastic. So, and I think it was good for me to have a spell just on my own, and it forced me to get to know all of the other staff and really tap into them. So I got to see their levels of competency in different areas. So that was great insight. But now to have the guys here is great. Ali obviously is a little bit more of my assistant, and he really helps on the physical periodization side of things. So he's a great link for me to Felix and Kyle and their department. And then Rob's given us another dimension to our game, because obviously without Rob here, we stayed completely clear of attacking set plays. It didn't make sense to try and implement something that was his body of work and his real passion and his real expertise. So Since he's been here, we've been able to really implement or start to implement the attacking set play model, and there's been some great rewards from that already in training, and there's been some good battles between the attacking setup and the defensive setup, which is exactly the environment we want to create. So we might see a glimpse of that on Saturday, and then we'll build that even further following the game.
We'll go to Brian Jennings.
How you doing, Matt? Good to see you again.
How's it going, Brian? Good to see you.
Excellent. Hey, enjoy your sunshine while you can, my friend, because after next week, look out, you're back home.
Yeah, I mean, I've been keeping an eye on the weather app, and it looks okay. So we'll see. I might get lucky.
Okay. Well, fingers crossed. Yeah, for sure. As we get into the business end starting next week, I'm just kind of curious. Would you mind giving us a peek? Not too much detail, I understand, but kind of a peek of how some of the partnerships are starting to develop, or the ones that you want to see develop, and even one step further, what are you kind of looking to solidify before you come back here and even head to Seattle? Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think for me, though, I'm not going to know truly about the exact chemistry and relationships within the team until I get to see all the different combinations. So training's been great for that. I've tried to mix it up as much as I can on different training days, and get to see different player groups together, and really test out those relationships. And Saturday will be no different. What I'm not going to do Saturday is put a team out there that's going to start against Seattle. It's going to be further investigation for me. I need to keep seeing the players. I need to keep getting the information. So I need to see how the different partnerships click together, for want of a better phrase. So Saturday is just another part of that, but so will Monday be when we're back at base camp. So will Tuesday. So will Wednesday, and it'll be all the way up until Seattle, where I'm still making decisions. And of course, way beyond that as well. We'll use that game as more information, and we'll just keep building and building. So I'm pleased as a whole with the group. It's been really interesting and intriguing for me to see the different guys play together, and it has sprung up some surprises. So I said to the group yesterday, no one will be able to predict the lineup against Seattle, and that's exactly how I want the environment. I want everyone guessing. So we'll see what I come up with on Saturday, and then the same again the following weekend.
No, fair enough. Cheers.
Back to Matt Wickham.
Matt, since I doubt you're going to tell us the starting 11 for Seattle after that answer, I do want to talk about the player we're going to talk to after this, Wthuda. You've sung his praises. What more have you seen from him, and what sort of a role do you think we can expect for him this season, with him signing a first-team contract, and you said being kind of a Swiss Army knife around the formation?
Yeah, I think it might even be his birthday today. I might be incorrect on that. I'm not sure, but I think. Yeah, I heard a rumor it might be his birthday, so if it is, you can sing him a song. But I might be wildly wrong on that, so maybe ignore it. Listen, he's shown his versatility in training, and I think that's been his biggest strength. But I reiterate what I said before: we have to make sure it's not his biggest weakness. He has to start showing a real specialism and some super strengths that allow me to have a clear idea of exactly, if he was to play in the team, if he was to fit into my system of play and the game model that we're putting in place. I need to know where he's going to do that and where he's going to excel. Whereas at the minute, I sort of see him doing a very good job in many different positions. And so, like I said, on the one hand, that's a huge positive. And what that's going to allow him to be is constantly around the first team environment, because a player like that is crucial in terms of training. And one day this player is missing, so I can put Sydney there, and the next day this guy is missing, let's put Sydney there. But of course, that's not the level of his ambition, and that's the conversation I had with him the other day. You don't want to be with the first team because you fit in numerous different positions. You want to be with the first team because me as a head coach is just desperate to have you around it, and I know how good you're going to be in our system, and I know that's exactly where you play, and I know that's exactly the strengths you're going to bring to the team. So that's his ambition. He's just got to close that gap. But as an initial impression, he's made a real positive impression on me. We did some stuff the other day where when he's able to show his ball striking, right foot, left foot, very impressive technically. When he has space in front of him, very impressive how he carries the ball and progresses the team up the pitch. So that's an attribute I've been keen to stress to him that he has to show more often. I think sometimes I'm at fault because the training we do is so intense and so tight areas, and that's what I get the enjoyment out of, and I know that speeds up players' decision making. Sometimes what that takes away is the space, and the two attributes I've just named is what Sydney's very good at, requires space, long passing, and also space to drive with the ball. So I'd say he's been quieter in training and then made really big impacts in games, but I take full responsibility for that. So he's made a good first impression. Now he's just got to keep building.
We'll go back to Keith.
Hi. So just to follow up a little on Brian's question, I don't expect a full answer of a starting 11, but as you narrowed down to the last preseason game and Seattle coming up, are you at least getting a good feel for who you think might be in the starting 11 or what that rotation might look like?
No, I've got what I've got a real good feel on is that we're shaping into the team that we want to become, and I think I was frustrated about loads of things in the last game, but one thing I was absolutely delighted with was the broader shape of the identity in the team that we were. No one could watch that game and say we didn't have the ball. We took the ball away from the opponent and we had the ball. We were the proactive team on the pitch, which is what I want us to be. But I said to the players afterwards, don't mistake my words. Control. When I talk about control and controlling the game, that means we have 20 shots and they have single figures. It's not about having the ball for having the ball's sake. It's about playing attacking football. It's about dominating. It's about always trying to score goals. And the fact that we have the ball is the best vehicle for us not to concede chances. So my disappointment from that game was we had all of the ball, but we were way too passive in the final thirds. We didn't stress their penalty box enough, and then we conceded too many chances on the counter-attack through poor positional play. So I'm seeing the broad identity of the team. That's pleasing, but I've not really got an interest in trying to nail down a starting 11 because it's going to change week on week through the players' competition in training.
We'll go back to Patrick Redigan.
Last week I kind of asked you about the depth of the squad, but just looking at the top end of the lineup, or like the top end, I guess, of the roster in the designated player position, a lot of teams kind of build around those players and kind of just let them do their thing, especially if they're attacking players. But you guys have two designated players that have shown they want to work to get the ball back. They want to be a two-way player. They want to do everything they can to help the team. As somebody who talks so much about pressing, how much does that help just kind of the team mentality, and how have how has that impact played out in the time you got to spend with them, just their willingness to work on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I think if you spoke to those guys, I think the good thing with me is it's not optional. If you don't do it, you won't play. It doesn't matter who you are. It's a huge element of our game model. I want us to be the best pressing team in this division. To do that, we have to have an incredible physical base, which I think you can probably garner from the different videos that have gone out and the insight you've had. We're definitely doing that. We're going to build that for sure. We have to have a special mentality to always start. We have to have the ball. So if the opponent has the ball, what do we have to do? We have to press to get the ball back. So of course, alongside that, we have to have a strategy behind it and have a clear understanding of what the opponent's trying to do to keep the ball away from us. And that was a large feature of what we did today. Today was the first ever opposition session we've done. Up until now, we've played every game completely blind. Just put our identity on the pitch. Don't worry what the opponent does. Try and do your best in the moment to cope. That if they play this shape or they make these movements, you guys just compensate for being off on a tactical sense, compensate for that through physicality, through mentality, to just keep going and going and going. Of course, that's imperfect, and I would never want the guys to enter a proper football match with those conditions. So today we did a little bit more of a mock, not full, but a bit more of a mock preparation for next week, in that we've done a little bit of work on the opponent today. This is how we press. This is how we defend the middle of the pitch. These are the movements they'll make. This is how we control them. If they do this, we do this. How do we defend around the edge of the box if we get nudged back that far? So that's the stuff that I'm really passionate about. So today's been a real fun day for me. It's been good information for the players. And now that's what I mean when I say Saturday's a much clearer examination of where we are, because A, they're not playing under fatigue, or they shouldn't be. We should be able to see a lot more of their physicality in the game. We get to observe where our game model is. I know it's certainly not where it's going to be. So let's see how far along the spectrum we've managed to get it in this short time. and now also they have the information of having a tiny bit of knowledge of what the opponent's going to do as well. So all of those things combined allow me to view with a much clearer set of eyes at the weekend, and then make better decisions off the back of that as to who needs to be in that starting 11 against Seattle. But yeah, I'll never change the culture here and the environment. I don't understand how you could have a top environment and a top culture, but then you make the decision for Seattle now. I have to see next week, Tuesday training, who's at it, who wants the shirt. I have to see Wednesday training, if who lost the shirt the day before but then is bold enough to reclaim it on Wednesday. And then I want to have sleepless nights on Thursday, Friday night, trying to come up with who on earth is in this starting 11 come the weekend. That's the environment we have to have here.
We'll go back to Juan Fernandez.
So you touched earlier on Sydney's positional flexibility in training. Are there any other players in camp who are adapting to new tactical roles or positions to better fit your tactical plan? And looking forward to future signings, how important is this quality for you? Are you much more of a put a player in one position and see where they thrive in that one position, or would you like kind of more utility players in the 11 to suit your needs?
No, I don't think that's a prerequisite. I think for me, it's about the players that serve the functions of the game model to the best, to make us the most effective, efficient team. So I'm always looking for that, the different qualities we need in each position. That also then shapes our recruitment. Obviously, I'm very specific about what any given position. I know exactly what that player needs to do from a physical perspective. So we're always studying anyone we want to bring into this club. We're studying their physical outputs in huge detail, because if they haven't shown historically that they can deliver extreme outputs and combine that with being robust, i.e. available for games week on week. I don't want guys with big injury histories, because I know this is an extreme game model that's really going to stress the guys. I know we train in an extreme manner, so there needs to be a level of robustness if you're coming here. But then I need to see the actual functions of the position. What do I need from that person with the ball? What do I need from that person without the ball? And then once I'm satisfied with that, it's about me jumping on a call with them always before I agree to bring someone to the club, because I need to get a sense for the most important thing, which is their mentality, their character. Are they going to fit into this environment? Be completely transparent about who I am and how I operate, and can they handle that? I can be quite passionate, I can be quite intense, I can be quite critical. I'm very well aware of that. So you need to have a certain personality that might not be for everyone. So I have to make sure I look the guys in the eye and find out if they're the right fit for the environment. And once I've added all of those things up, then we make a decision as a club whether to bring that person in. So that's the process in terms of that. In terms of versatility, for me, I'm more of the mindset of I'd like two players competing for every shirt. So when I spoke before about depth, and I'm not necessarily looking for any set given player, I just want depth. If I can get to a position where we have two players in every single position vying for the shirt, that's high performance. That's how we're going to drive each other forward week on week.
We'll go to our last two questions. We'll go ahead and go to Matt Wickham.
All right, Matt, two-parter. We talked to Hamza the other week, and he called himself a destroyer. Having seen more of that, how does Hamza the Destroyer fit into your game model? And then second part, how are you doing? New gig, first camp, across the pond, head man, how are you feeling about everything?
I mean, I was going to say, one thing I've learned about myself is in these, I'm not very good at remembering the two parters. I start rambling about part one and I forget. So, but as that question was about me and I get to speak about myself, I should remember it. So, yeah, Hamza, he's lived up to his name. I think you'll have to speak to some of the guys to find out who, but he's destroyed a couple of guys in training already. I think on day one he wasted no time, and to be honest, that's exactly what I want. It's never over the line with Hamza. The good thing for me is I'm not looking at him thinking, oh, this is going to be a disciplinary issue or we're going to have to rein this in. He's got very, very good technique in terms of how he attacks the ball in duels and wins the ball back. But we certainly saw against Columbus the period that he played, there was a different feel to the game, purely because when we arrived in the final third, it was very, very difficult for them to then escape. And what that gives you is the capability to risk the ball more. So actually he's a very attacking player. That's how I see him, because in the final third now I have complete confidence that we don't have to be as, at the minute from from our byline until the final third, I'd say we're a precision machine. Everything you're going to see when we play, everything's short passes, everything's intricate movements, certain combinations that we work on all the time, has to be very precise. When we arrive in the final third, I want us to drop that tag completely, and I want us to be quite chaotic, very aggressive, flood the box. The first guys that played, anytime they tried to do that, obviously you're never going to score from every attack or generate a chance from every attack. So if the ball got cleared, I felt we were, for want of a better phrase, too soft to then be aggressive and keep the game, keep the territory. Whereas when Hamzat came into the pitch, it allowed me to see, okay, there's huge value in what he does for the team, because it allows us to stay in the attacking phase, because every time the ball got cleared from Columbus, Hamzat was there, we win the ball, we recycle it again, and we attack again. So he's been very, very impressive. I love his personality. He surprised me a little bit from the first call. You're never sure from the first call I had of him. His mentality and his attitude and his drive was very clear. But my suspicions were he'd come in and he'd be a guy that really keeps himself to himself, and he's just in his own world and in his own zone. But he's been very, very outgoing off the pitch, and already you see he's one of the guys. It's like he's been here for many years. So been really pleased with him. And then, I've been really pleased with myself for the second question. No, listen, I'm loving it. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's everything that I wanted it to be. It's exactly why I made the move. I said before, I've been ready for a number of years, and it was just a case of waiting for the right opportunity. And I suspected through conversations with everyone here that this was the place that fit that bill, and that's only been confirmed. And now working with the guys, this is I've pushed them to the limit and then maybe beyond in some cases, and every time I do that, every time I try and up the ante, they respond. So I love working with this group. I genuinely believe we're creating something special here. I feel massive support from the staff. I feel like we've got incredible expertise here as a staff. I couldn't have wished for anything more. I feel like all the conditions are here to be successful, and then the beauty for me is it just needs strong leadership to guide it in the right way, and that's exactly what I want to do. That's what I'm passionate about. So thank you for asking, but I'm very, very happy. I'm excited. More information this weekend, another week's training to refine and just touch up from the stuff that definitely inevitably is going to be missing this weekend, and then we go next week, and then we've got an exciting week to go and build into Seattle. And when I'm stood on that sideline for the first time, I'm going to be a very happy man.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
We'll go to Keith Richards for the final question.
Hi, Coach. Last question for me, then look forward to seeing you next week. But as you know, there's a base that's unset for the fitness that you want down in Florida, but that changes once you get back here to Colorado. Just wondering how you plan on getting the fitness to that level here at Elevation, how you plan to balance that with not having tired legs come Saturday.
Yeah, I think next week will be much more of a standard week for us. Obviously, everyone in the squad, I'm hoping, will play 90 minutes this weekend in some capacity. So that's a really important step for us if we can, or certainly as many guys as we can, certainly play. Some are on different loadings because they joined a little bit later, or some have had short periods where they've missed with injury. So those guys, everyone has an individualized plan, but the majority of the squad is available for 90 minutes this weekend. There are some guys that I'll only play 75. So we get as many guys as possible minutes. That'll be, for me, that will symbolize, once they do the physical work then after the game, that will symbolize the end of what I deem the pre-season period of building the foundation physically and mentally. And then next week, obviously, back at home, it will be then about first couple of days being recovery, making sure then we're good to go again on Tuesday, Wednesday. That'll be great for us, like you said, in the altitude. The way I look at it is we've built an incredibly extreme base of physicality here. So whatever the altitude affects us, well, it's all relative. Any other team coming there is going to affect them in the same way, if not more. So we'll acclimatise very quickly. I think the big thing for me here was build something extreme from the outset. I know in turn that builds something extreme in terms of the mentality of the group. We've had some good work here this week as well, which I probably should have said, with Philip coming out, and I tasked him to do some psychology sessions with the group, just as they have to get comfortable being the big team. and that's what I saw at the weekend. That they were a little bit surprised that they were so dominant with the ball. And I asked them, well, I told them we need to drop that surprise. We can't operate with that feeling of surprise, because then when in periods of adversity, that's going to knock us off track. So we have to be steadfast in our football here, and that we are going to be a dominant team. We are going to have the ball every game that we play. With that comes a consequence that other teams are going to be tougher to break down. So we have to shoulder that responsibility. And a big part of that is football. A big part of that is me giving them the correct movements to make and tactically upskilling them. But a big part of that is also psychology and making sure that the small pockets of adversity that appear in a football match, let's say you're a winger and we're dominant and we keep arriving and you keep cutting in and you keep putting your in swinging cross and it keeps going to the goalie, or you put one behind the goal. I can't have that chip away at your aura or your connection to the game. I need you to be as positive as ever, because it might take us till the 80th minute, 85th minute, 90th minute. That's what a big team does. We go all the way until the very end. If we have to win it in the last minute, we win it in the last minute. You still get 3 points, whether you win it then or you win it in the 30th minute. So, but for us to arrive in that spell, we have to stay connected to the game. We have to play. We are a positive, dynamic, energetic team. So if those little mistakes chip away at our energy, we're not the team that we want to be. So all of that stuff will continue next week in the altitude. Make no mistake about it. And then I'm convinced that come Saturday you'll see something on the pitch that maybe you're surprised at, and hopefully you're excited by.
Matt, thank you for your time. We'll go ahead and pause here. We'll be right back shortly.
Thank